guys, it's BT here, and today we're checking out the new Pro line of peripherals from Alienware. The goal of this line is to make something that is reliable and high quality enough for pros to use, and as a byproduct, us wannabe pros get to benefit as well. So today we're going to be looking at their new keyboard and their new mouse. Now we're going to start off with the keyboard. It's a wireless 75% keyboard made out of aircraft grade aluminum. Has a nice hefty feel to it. Doesn't feel cheap at all. It's like one of those old Fanatic keyboards but on steroids. They smoothed out the edges and removed a lot of the excess from sticking out, making it very comfortable to use and also giving it a very small footprint. That way it won't get in the way if you're a low sense arm aimer. Alienware has done a lot of research and it paid off with the design, as they've added 2 pieces of foam inside the case to give the keyboard a nice thonky sound, and it doesn't sound hollow whatsoever, which is sometimes prevalent in these types of keyboards. On the back, you'll get a nice place to store your USB dongle if you're on the go. You can also connect up to 3 different devices for Bluetooth as well. And then there's also a USB-C port if you aren't comfortable using it in a wireless mode. They also have 2 kickstand feet on the back, and they are really nice if you want to get a nice typing angle while you're gaming. Now the keycaps are double shot PBT and they are shine through. They have a nice texture to them. Sometimes PBT can be a bit rough, but these are actually smooth to the touch. I actually quite like the feel of them, and they're going to be super durable compared to their ABS counterparts. Another thing that they did was make this keyboard hot swap, so you can use your own switches here. It's compatible with a 3-pin and a 5-pin switch. These are their own proprietary switches. They're factory lube, and they're using a palm stem, so you're getting an enthusiast-like material on the stem of the switches, which is nice to see. This is something that we saw on the fan favorites, the alpaca switches. I'm very impressed with the sound of this keyboard, and these switches are also 40 grams, so they are very lightweight for gaming. They don't have that flimsy feeling that can sometimes plague some of these gaming keyboards. It feels very nice under the fingers. Way better than the Cherry MX stock switches. So let's try up a sound test of the keyboard so you don't have to take my word for it. You can see just how great this keyboard sounds, and this is all stock. So what you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. The only thing really missing from this keyboard is probably like rapid trigger or a magnetic Hall effect switch where you can adjust the actuation point. It's super useful for movement in CSGO and Valorant. I honestly think that this would be the stock gaming keyboard to get if it had rapid trigger or, you know, the ability to adjust your actuation point. Now for games where movement is less important, like in League of Legends or Elden Ring and games of that nature, I think this keyboard would be perfect just because of the sound, the feel. It just feels like a premium keyboard. This is wireless, like I said, and in the 2.4 gigahertz mode, it gets an absurd 798 hours of battery life. You'll have to charge this maybe like once a year, probably. And in the Bluetooth mode, you'll get around 1,300 hours if I'm not mistaken. So this keyboard is really reliable, especially in a pro setting. It's not gonna just die on you in the middle of a match. And again, if you're not comfortable using it wireless, then you can plug it in via the USB. And I didn't notice any slowdowns or any lag using the keyboard in gaming or in typing. And I wanna mention, you wanna use that 2.4 gigahertz mode when connecting to your computer when gaming. If you're just doing like office work, again, you could just use the Bluetooth mode. But yeah, stick to the 2.4 gigahertz, and especially when you're getting that much battery life, there's no need. So if you've been in the market for a wireless gaming keyboard with a great build quality, great sound, you don't have to really do much to it, you can hot swap it if you want to, has nice keycaps, then I have no problem recommending the Alienware Pro wireless keyboard. Just keep in mind, there is no rapid trigger, and if that's an important feature to you, then look elsewhere. But hey, different strokes for different folks. And I gotta say, this is a very nice keyboard. Now that we're done with the keyboard, let's take a look at their Pro mouse. Again, stepping away from that gamer aesthetic and trying to focus more on performance. They got a lot of good feedback from the aim god Rafa, the Quake legend, especially on the shape. So I was excited to try out this mouse. And right away, you know they're serious when they remove the RGB to focus on performance, and I'm not mad at that. It keeps the same design language as the keyboard and the overall Alienware aesthetic without being overly overly cringy or gamery. It has a very nice coating, very smooth to the touch, but also gives you a nice grip on the mouse, even when your hands start to sweat. At the bottom, they have 2 mouse feet that are pure PTFE with no additives in it, and they glide very nicely. The weight is coming in right under 60 grams, and he did a really good job balancing it. There's a DPI button on the bottom so you can switch between the DPIs, and this is noted by the little light indicator on the left hand side. On the back foot, they made it smaller and they created this little ledge and a space for the USB dongle to go so that you can take it for on the go. So at the back end of the mouse, there's this little gap. And as you can imagine, like if you're lifting up and down your mouse and you're picking it up, especially if your claw, your palm is gonna be back here, you're gonna start to get like some tilting action. Like, you see that? Like, I wish they would have just kept this ledge here, move the USB dongle more towards the middle where most companies put it, and call it a day. I think by doing this, they kind of hinder the mouse a little bit, especially for claw grip users. For fingertip grip, it's not going to be as big of an issue because you're mostly going to be moving flat like this. For palm, also not too much of a difference, but for claw, I do find it a little bit distracting. I noticed that the mouse 1 and 2 stick out differently. The mouse 2 kind of hangs over the edge, whereas the mouse 1 is a little bit dropped. I don't know if they did this on purpose or if that's just a QC thing, but it's kind of distracting to me, like seeing it there. It just looks off. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like that or if that's just my copy, but I did want to note that. Especially since this is an ambidextrous mouse, you would expect each button to be about the same length. Moving on to the shape, it actually has a really nice shape and feel to it. It's a combination of like a S2 from Zowie and a G Pro Wireless. It actually to me feels a little more comfortable than the G Pro Wireless even. Here I compared it to, in my opinion, to the best out, the G Pro Wireless X2 and the Razer Viper V3 Pro. The V3 Pro is more towards the center, the G Pro Superlight is more towards the middle back, and the Alienware hump is more pronounced on the back end like a Zowie S2, but the hump isn't super big. They definitely nailed the hump on this mouse, and it is super, super comfortable, especially if you're doing claw grip or if you're doing a fingertip grip. And you can even palm grip this mouse if you want. The mouse is also a very low profile with comfort grooves on the sides and a fairly low front end. It's just super comfortable. Out of the 3 mice, I actually find this to be the most comfortable out of the 3, and especially since I'm doing claw grip now, it just feels right at home. So there are some things that I don't like about the mouse, but there is a lot about it. They're also using their optical switches with magnetic force plates. These prevent the mouse buttons from sticking because it's just 2 magnets coming together, but they're a little on the dull side, I must say, and definitely not as crispy as I would like. The side buttons are also decent. One thing that I would recommend for them is to make the side buttons have a natural curve, so when you put your thumb there, it just feels more comfortable here, and this will make it more comfortable when picking up and placing down your mouse. The scroll wheel feels nice and defined, but don't take my word for it. Let's drop another sound test, 2 sound tests and 1 video. Aren't you guys lucky? Now, when it comes to the battery life, you're getting 32 hours in 4000 Hertz or 120 hours in the 1000 Hertz polling rate mode, and 5 minutes of charging will get you 6 hours in the 1000 Hertz mode. Now, you can also plug this in via the USB and get 8000 Hertz if you want to run it that way as well. Lately, I've just been running my mice at 1000 Hertz or 2000 Hertz at the most because of the hit that it takes on my performance of my games. I definitely see a drop in my frames per second. Now, the sensor is the 3395 and it performs very nicely. Nothing to report on that end. Very accurate sensor. Overall, it's a decent offering from Alienware. There's just a few things that really keep me from recommending it fully, which is the half mouse foot on the back, and the buttons are a little dull compared to what's out there. Now, keep in mind, this is their first step into the pro gaming market, and nobody comes out with the perfect mouse on their first time. But at $150, I think there are some better options out there that will keep people from buying and using this mouse. unless you just really have to have this shape. But hey, shape is king, so you never know. Now both of these can be controlled with their command center, which allows you to control their monitor as well. And to keep in line with what I said with other manufacturers, I would just love to see a browser solver here. It's what the industry is moving towards, so you don't have to install another piece of software onto your computer. That way you can just set it up once and forget it, and if you need to change, you can just go to a link and then call it a day. But of course in here you can change and control the RGB, make macros, assign different things to keystrokes. For the mouse you can change the DPI, the lift off distance, and change the switch assignments as well. So you know what, it just does its job. There's not much to report there. All right, so that's gonna do it for my review on the Alienware Pro line. Yes to the keyboard, definite yes, especially if you don't need rapid trigger. This thing is amazing, especially if you want something wireless. And the mouse is moving in the right direction, just needs a few changes in my opinion to be in the conversation, especially when you're asking $150 for it. So man, I want to love this because the shape is just so good, but it's just not there for me just yet. All right, so we're at the end of the video, guys. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. It has been your boy BT saying